taking much of our time. We only have today left to cover every other topic we have. So some of the topic we might do hands-on, might not complete it. I'll just try as much as I can so that we can cover all the topic we have left. So I'll be sharing my screen now. I'll be sharing my screen. So we'll continue from where we stopped yesterday. But before we continue, I have the charts in front of me. I would like to know what we remember regarding what we discussed yesterday, and if anybody have done any hands-on it, if you have any challenge or any question, then we can proceed. So we have just 2 minutes to do that. I'll be in the chat. I'm still with us. Talk about secure score. Okay. Talk about secure score. Aside from secure score, we talk about other things. Why is everybody picking secure scores? Or if check your tenants, your scores is not okay. Talk about SPF to some extent. Yes, spoofing and impersonation. Started exchange online protection. Yes, we completed the FIDO key. Talk about malware, phishing, social engineering threats. Talk about the game. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, however, I would like to know if anybody encounter any error or any issue. Maybe you storm a document online that said something contrary to what we mentioned, or when you are trying to configure any of those policy you receive or you got an error message, please let us know so we can deal with that before we move forward. If we're able to talk about these few things and we understand, it's far much better than talking about a lot of things and we don't understand any. Okay, so I will assume nobody has any challenge while trying any of what we did yesterday. So we'll continue from the points we stopped yesterday. I'm sharing my screen now. Please let me know once you can see my screen. Up. I think I shared the wrong screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? If yes, what about the font size? Can you see what is written there? Yes, my screen is visible. But can you see what I have on the screen? Is it visible enough? Okay. Okay. Is it fine now? I should increase the font size again. I've increased
No,
it.
no, no. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rafiat. I have a bigger screen here today, so and I know that bigger screen gives issues when you are sharing your screen for users that have smaller screen. Okay, so I believe everybody knows how we get to Microsoft Defender. For those that are not with us yesterday, we have you have 3 ways that you can get here. You can decide to go to office.com. So you click on the admin center, can you see? Click on the admin center. Also, you can click directly, you can just go directly to admin.microsoft.com, and from there you click on our security. And you don't forget, I also mentioned that compliance is now purview, while security is now defender. So that was how we got to our defender yesterday. And as at yesterday, we are still talking about threats. We are talking about threats, and we discuss about phishing. We discuss about um spoofing, impersonation. We talk about spam. Mentioned few of social engineering, and we talk about malware also yesterday. So from our discussion yesterday, we stop at anti-spam. So today we'll go to malware. As I said earlier, we as fast as I can, because we still need to go to the purview and check some other things. You see, we have our purview, we've not even touched anything here at the moment. Even if you are will not be able to run some of the what is it called configuration, at least I'll just take my time to explain some of it to us and come to the end of the security and compliance part of the MS 900 So let's go back to our threat policy where we have been. So today we are going to anti-malware. So yesterday we defined malware. Can somebody still remind us what we said malware is? Can somebody remind us? We defined malware yesterday. Are we still together? Malicious attack. Okay. What else? It's used to cause virus. Okay. Somebody said it's used to cause virus. Okay. Aside from that, any other definitions? Somebody said anything that can cause damage to our machine. A lot of things can cause damage now. Okay, so yesterday, remember when I was explaining malware, I said malware include numerous threat families and with all different names. If you remember, we mentioned viruses, we mentioned worms, Trojan, ransomware, rootkit, and bootkit yesterday when I was explaining what malware is. So I said, we'll discuss, we are talking about the security and the compliance. So what we are still talking about now is the security part of it. Since we know all these things exist, what is expected of us to make sure our tenant is secure, both the admin and the users, everybody in the tenant, everybody in our organization, they are safe from these malwares. So in Office 365, so we have the anti-malware. So we can create a policy. Remember yesterday also when I was discussing about presets, I talk about the presets, I talk about the default policy, and we talk about the custom policy. We said the preset policy is our customized order from fast food. And meanwhile, the default is our average food that we eat daily, and the custom is the food we cook at home to suit our needs, depending on maybe health issue, allergic, and some other things. So we'll be creating our anti-malware policy. So for those that will be going with me, so you can click on create. Let's call it test. Hopefully, I don't have one test before. Test one. So as I said yesterday, it is good In a production environment, when you are creating any policy, you add description to it. It is very important, especially when you have more than one admin in that environment. So the description will shows why we have this policy here and who is this policy applied to. Perhaps a user is already complaining about one issue or the other, and one of the admin discovered that the issue is unique, and he has been trying to go to the root of that issue. But seeing this policy and seeing the description, if the user details is included here, then the admin can actually check to know if this was actually the issue that is affecting the user. But if there is no description, then it will be difficult to start checking the rules or policies that apply to a user, why the user is not getting the expected behavior. So you can give your own policy any name of your choice. And don't forget, yesterday also I said the default policy will take precedence over the default policy. And if you remember the policy we created yesterday, one ask is zero. That somebody was asking why zero. So a zero is higher than one, as mentioned yesterday. So we can continue now. So which user will this policy apply to? Which user? Let me see. Let me try domain. I think I have. Yeah. So I can add this here and I can decide to exclude a user. Who am I excluding? Let me exclude myself. It's not for God. Then click on next. So I think what we have here is similar to what we have yesterday also. I explained everything one after the other, users, group, and domain. So the only thing we did not do yesterday is we did not exclude users, which is one of the reasons why I actually did this so we can get it. So I'll be clicking on next. Okay. From your screen now, you can see that you have different kind of extensions here. Extensions, yeah. You can see, let me see if you can see others. Okay. So you can see we have we have all these and 43 orders, all these and 43 orders, which means anything that contain this extension in your email, it will flag it automatically. And if you want to decide to remove it, then you can go ahead. You can go ahead, but to the best of my knowledge, I know most time HTML attachments are always flagged as malware. HTML and .exe is always flagged by most mail server as malware. So you can see, and you can decide to add additional to it. Probably what you want is not here. Like the example we did yesterday, I think it was SHTML, if I'm right. So I can click on add, then click on done. You can see that the number have increased because I've added another extension to this extension. So the next column is asking us when these file types are found, what should happen? What should happen? Reject this message with non-delivery response or non-delivery recipient or quarantine the message. To me, I would have said you should quarantine this message. Probably some of the message might be legit. In case there is one we have that is legit and has any of this extension, then we can still go to the quarantine portal to either release it or check it to know if it's legit or not. You can even download it directly from there if it's actually. But if you say you should reject it, then the email might not be safe, or you might not have access to that email from your mail server at your end. And the funniest thing is the recipients might keep saying, I've sent you this message, I've sent you this message. And due to one reason or the other or technical issues, the non-delivery response might not deliver immediately to that user. It might take days, maybe after 2, 3 days, then the user will start receiving the non-delivery response of email he has sent 3 days ago. So, which is the reason why I would recommend the message should go to the quarantine, and from there you can always enable it. And the next one we have there is enable 0 hour auto purge malware. As the name sound, is 0 hour auto purge malware. If you enable it on your own, no, because there are some message though Microsoft recommend it. There are some message that should not purge. As I said earlier, they might be a valid message, but maybe the person that is sending it, person is ignorant, and the person is ignorant one way or the other, then this also will purge that email. Though after the email have been delivered to the user mailbox, maybe it has been moved to spam, and when the mail server detects it to be malware, then it do what? Take it off. So we have the quarantine policy. We can actually create our quarantine policy, but we'll not be going to that today. But however, we have some default policy here also. So we can pick any from this policy we have here. You can see permission to release quarantine message will be ignored for message with malware detected and will be fall back to release request instead. So there are notifications also. If this message comes to um our tenants, you can see notify an admin about undelivery message from the internal sender, notify an admin about undelivery message from external sender. So you can decide to click your options, which admin should receive it, then you can click it, which admin should receive it for both internal and external. You can decide to add it. Let me assume I want to add my own. Why is it flagging my mail? Email address is invalid. No, now. No, now. Me, whole admin, you're telling me my email address is invalid. Let me try the other email. Okay. So I don't know why I'm saying that is invalid. Maybe because you are using the on Microsoft domain. So you can customize the text the user receive, you see font name, from address, subject, message, any way you want it. So you can decide to customize that notification also. So we are now going to that. I think after this, that is all about the uh the policy we're talking about. You can see review your policy to see if it's what you actually want or not. So for this, yes. Is there any extension as .com? .com is website now. .com is website, so you should not be receiving .com. Okay, so that is that. So I will not be saving this policy. So I won't I won't do control spoil. So the next thing we have is save attachments and save link. Save attachment and save link. As the name sounds, save attachments and save link. As you can see, we have inbuilt one already. We have the inbuilt. We can only exclude these. We can't really edit what we have here. So we can always create our own policy too for the safe attachment. Don't forget safe attachments URL. Look at the things we've talked about. You see that all what we've talked about here, they are majorly about attack. You can see we've talked about phishing, we've talked about spam, we've talked about malware. Now we are talking about the attachments. We are talking about the attachments, safe attachments. So let me create this. First one, two, then next user. So I'll just add myself. Let me add this other one. Yes, for those that is asking, the malware, every other policy that we are creating aside from the spam, it works for both ways, inbound and outbound. Only the spam that we have the inbound, we have the outbound that we need to configure separately. Okay, while we are even waiting, I think yesterday we only did um inbound. We can quickly rush and just check some things about the outbound policy, anti-spam. So the outbound does not really have much configuration. That's why I did not make mention of it that much yesterday, because this deals with email that you're sending from your organization outside. So that's why I'm not um, saying much about it. You can see tests to then is GD. So you can see these are all the configuration we have there. Set an external message limit. So you can decide to set the limit for external message, how many message they can send per day. Set an internal message limit. Internally, how many message can user send per day. Set daily message limit. So this is value cannot exceed daily limits. You can see because the daily limit is lower. So this is for message that a user can send at once. That is a message you can send at once. So this is the daily limit for each users. If once you hit your limit, then your account will be flagged, it will be restricted. You can see restriction placed on user who reach the limit. What should happen to the user? So whatever you want to happen to the user, you as an admin, if Microsoft says daily limit is 10 10,000 for one user. So if I am an admin, then I will set for each user I can set 5,000. Then anybody that sent beyond 5,000, that person should the mail server should flag that person so I can get a notification. Else, if you are flagged by Microsoft um 3 times, if you are flagged for the first time, you can unblock that user from your end. You can remove the user from restricted user from your end. If that is done 3 times, the fourth time you'll not be able to do that from your end again. You have to raise support with Microsoft at times, and most times you still need to wait 24 hours before that email can send or receive email again. So they ask for forwarding rule. So if you don't enable this global forwarding rule, then there is no how anybody in the organization will be able to forward anything outside this organization. So only when you have this forwarding rule enabled, if you have it on, that is when users can forward message, email outside of this organization. So most time, a lot of admin gets the auto response to this. They get auto response when um they don't have this enabled, and user will keep complaining. I try to forward email to a particular user to my mailbox or to my personal mail. It does not get delivered, or some users will raise support and admit to that whenever they send me message, I get this non-delivery response, irrespective of who sent me a message. Then if you go to check that mailbox, you see that there is forwarding. So the mailbox is trying to forward to another mailbox, but because this is not enabled in the organization, so users cannot forward the email. So some organization they have it off. They don't want you to forward the emails outside the organization, which is one of the reason particularly I said let's come and talk about the outbound policy. You can see notify these users and group if a sender is blocked due to sending outbound spam. So some users will be notified if they are sending it. And you can see send a copy of suspicious outbound message or message that exceed this limit to this user. So we have everything readily made by Microsoft. We just have to know where we have them and what to do with them. So let's go back to our save attachments. So on the other hand, for save attachments, you can see that you can see what we have here. I've added user, which is myself. Then the next thing is the settings. We have few settings here. You can see save attachment, unknown malware response, monitor and block action caused by you can see off attachments will not be scanned by safe attachments, which is not safe. Attachments will not be for those that are used to Microsoft very well, you will see that both attachments and URL at times once you receive it, um, at times it's not readily available for you to have access to it. So the first one we have here, it said monitor, deliver the message if the malware is detected and track scanning results. We will deliver the message if the malware is detected and it will track um the scanning results. So often the message will get to you, but at times you will not see the attachment. I don't know if you've experienced issue like that before. Somebody will send message email to you with an attachment. The email will get delivered, but you will not see that attachment. So it's because of some of the policies that are put in place. And you can see the second option we have here is the block. So it will block the attachment completely. Just block it. Once you detect it or there is any pattern of malware, do what? Block the entire message, the entire email, everything, block it. So on the other side, we have the dynamic delivery. If you look at the description we have here, immediately delivered the message without attachment, then reattach file after scanning it complete. This is how the dynamic work. Once you receive and once you send an email with attachment, irrespective of what you attach to that email, the email will get delivered. Meanwhile, the mail server, the security system will scan it. So if the security system scan it and discover that the attachment is malicious, is a malware, then it will remove that file back from your mailbox. I don't know if you have experienced something like that. A user sent you an email, there was an attachment initially, and after a few seconds, you see that you can't find the attachment again. So that is how the dynamic delivery works. So we are the quarantine policy, as I mentioned earlier, we can create a custom policy also for our quarantine, but for this course, we'll be making use of the default ones that Microsoft make readily available for us. That's what we are going to use. And the last part, you can see redirect message with detected attachment. So you can redirect the message to so message can be redirected. So organization will create um a service mailbox where this message can be redirected and the admins will receive notification. They can check the message if it's legit or not. If it's legit or not. And as I said earlier, one of the reasons they do the same also is in case the message is actually genuine. or the attachment is important to them, then they can go to that mailbox and do what and spool it out for the user. Once the user give them reason and the user is able to convince them that okay, that email is what is legit, which is that regarding safe attachment. Regarding safe attachment, you can see what we have next is the review. So going back to our threat policy again to talk about the last part, which is the um link, safe link. If you remember when we were talking about some of this security, you see that most users fall victim of this link. Most users fall victim of this link. Not too long ago, for those of us that we are in Nigeria, the federal government said some money will be allocated to the state government and it will be distributed to the mass. And the next thing we saw on WhatsApp is click on this form and fill it so that the money the federal government promised can get to you. And you see that they started asking some sensitive questions. Most people fall victim for of this. A lot of people fall victim for it because of the assumed um, information that we had from the federal government. As we are currently now, there's a way you can do a simulation attack that we can send to all the students, and I can tell you that most of you will fall victim for it. Let me just assume that we send an email now from a simulation attack to all the mentee that we have in this organization and tell them that you can fill this form below, then you will receive um a premium membership for LinkedIn for 1 year. So I believe more than 50% people would fall for it. Why? Because you believe this community is Microsoft community and LinkedIn belongs to Microsoft. Without checking the details very well, I know most of us will go ahead and fill those form. And that is the reason why we have this safe link um, protection in our environment. The way the safe link work, I don't know for some of us that have worked with Teams very well or with some Microsoft documents, you see that they will send some link to you. You will see HTTP safe link, you will see some rubbish that will follow it. But however, when you click on it, it will redirect you to maybe a data or an application. It won't show like the normal URL that is expected it to be. So that is one of the work of safe link. So it will pop up to let you know that this link is actually not safe. So we can create a custom link, then give it a custom function depending on what we want to achieve and the policy we have around in our organization. So test one, next. I'll add myself again as usual. Then I can click on next. So if you look at what you have here, number one says safe link check a list of known malicious link. When is that click link in the email? URL are rewritten by default. You can see the URL will be rewritten. You won't see it as the short URL, maybe security.microsoft.com forward slash safe link forward slash Olajide forward slash Lagos. You won't see something like that. You will just see a bunch of somebody said I can't see the attachment policy, safe link policy, and other. So just hold on, please. Let's see what this person is saying. I think this should be role issue. This should be role related. And this place I'm saying looks like the classic. Yeah, this is the classic what is it called? Defender classic security center, not the new security center. You can try the new security center and see if it gets the same thing. Let me quickly go there. This person wants to draw us back, but it won't work. Admin. If I click on security, it's not even taking me back to the old. So it's going straight, but at the top of your own screen, at the top, you should have a button where you can switch from the classic to the new center. Just check if you have it there, then you can click on it. You should and let me know if you don't have the safe link and the safe attachments. So as we are saying, so you can see the next one, apply safe link to email message sent within the organization, apply real-time URL scanning for suspicious link and link that points to files. So we have different options that you want, like the last option now that do not rewrite URLs. Do check via safe link API only. There are a lot of organizations they don't like um Microsoft security rewriting their URL. So they uncheck that option, or you can add the number of URL that you don't want it to rewrite. Probably you have other things like a website, you have a signature, because this thing, especially this safe link, it flags signature a lot. A lot of companies' signature that they are using third party signature email. Once the email comes in, often it flags the email uh, um, because of the signature that is inside that email. So you can easily get the URL that they have in that signature. Then you can add it to this place that you should not write that URL, and with that, that email should get delivered to the user's mailbox. So we have Teams and we have Office 365 app. You can see it's almost the same thing with what we discussed upstairs. The only difference is that at this place, URL are not rewritten. So the last part of it, click protection sets, track user click, let user click through to the original URL. So you can see, so the safe link is straightforward. And the second part of the safe link that we have is the notification. How do you notify your user? See, so I can decide to write some message here to notify my user to let them know this URL is actually not safe. Don't go there. It's not safe. For the person that sent the previous screenshot, Michael Omumere, please let me know if you can see the safe attachment or the safe link now. So that is all on threat policy. Let's talk. I think we can talk about um tenants allow and block list. I think I mentioned it yesterday also. So tenants allow and block list. I can decide to add user to our block list, domains and user to our block list so that email from these users will not get delivered to us. It will not get delivered to us. A lot of email, especially from China and India, you receive a lot of email, though those email might not be coming from China and India, but because those two countries have a lot of mailing app that people make use of, since I think it seems more cheaper than others, so they make use of it. So you have to block those emails from getting to your organization. Spoof sender, you can say spoof sender, you can decide to add a domain or a pair of wildcard for a user to allow action for spoof. Why do you want to allow action for spoof? There are some organizations that have a third-party application that they use to send emails. So at times these things are spoof At times these things are spoof and users will be having a lot of issues. So despite that, you want your security um to be I want your organization to be so secure, yet Microsoft make available options for exceptions for other devices. And we have where to block our URLs also. We have files, we have IPs also. So we have a lot of things that we can either block or leave it the way they are. So because of our time, I'll not be going to this email authentication settings and other things we have here. I mentioned quarantine policy that we can create a custom one. You can decide to come here and create one for yourself if you want to. And we have this arc and DKIM. If you want to set up your DKIM, we have it here also. So I'm just trying as much as I can so we can cover up all the necessary topic we we have. So do you have any question here before I proceed to the Purview Admin Center? I'm in my security page. What to click to get to? Oladapo DJ. I mentioned this earlier before I even get to this place. Ubuntu Bishegun. You can drop your question as chat. You can drop your question as chat. If you have question, please drop your question. Drop your question then before we proceed. Before we proceed, let's go back to our slide. So I believe everybody can see my screen. So we've talked about the exchange protection. I've talked about safe attachments and safe link. You can see for those of us that like English. Okay, let me go back to the exchange online protection. I'm coming. Um, I is not going.
So, sorry, Olajide.
Okay.
Michael, you're asking. I think Michael is asking that he doesn't know how to navigate to the classic you talked about. I say in the classic
No, Michael is in
purview.
the classic. Michael is in the classic purview. He needs to go to the new purview. What I have on my screen is the new purview, not the classic one.
But this is a security portal now.
Sorry, I mean defender. Sorry, I mean defender, security, defender, not purview. My bad.
So,
So
do you
Michael don't have
have
safe
classic?
attachments and safe link. Yes, we have the new and the old one.
So, what? Wait, hold
So
on.
he can check two things. Either he check the role assigned or he check where exactly that person is. Is that person using our tenants or other tenants?
I want to
Can every
believe he's using Michael. Okay, let me unmute so he can ask his question. Hold on.
I've seen another person that said they don't have it too. Can others too check if they have it or not? So we'll know if that is
So he said with the tenant created for us. Michael is saying he has. So if you have the tenant that is created for us, I believe you have this same Microsoft Defender portal for our tenants, right?
what I would have loved to say is other users should confirm if they have the option for the safe attachment and safe link. It might be the role assigned to them. Somebody said I
Okay.
have it on my own tenant.
So,
I'm coming. Michael, can you share full full screen a screenshot of your full screen? Can you send it? A lot of people said they can't find it. A lot of people said they don't have it. So while we are waiting for those
so
people,
So from the security admin center, right, just scroll down the left navigation pane. You will see email and collaboration. Scroll down. Okay, that email and collaboration, click on the drop down arrow. Then you see policies and rules. You click on it, right? Okay, so I think they are more concerned about the save links.
yes, the
Oh,
safe link and the safe attachment that they don't have
okay,
it.
okay. Mm.
Do you want to look into that?
Yeah, I'll look into that and get back to them.
Okay, thank you. So while we continue, let's check other questions we have here. Other question, can't see it either. Okay, does each user in the organization create their own security and compliance policy, or does the administrator create the policies for everyone? No, users don't have access to the admin center. Ah, yes, if the user come to the office.com, do I still have my office.com? Okay, office.com. So as users, you will see every other applications, but you will not see admin. You will not see this admin there. So user does not have the privilege to where we are currently. So it's the admin that will decide to configure it. That is based on the kind of environment or the kind of organization you find yourself. The kind of policy they will make use of in bank is different from the kind of policy they will make use of in let me say in a telecommunication company. In bank now, you can't block um bank details. You can't block users from sending back details of you can't block your staff from sending back details as email. But in a telecommunication company, you can decide to block card details, block account details and everything, not be able to send it via email. So the policy differs depending on the kind of organization you are working with and the kind of boss, also your CTO, your CSO, your MD, and others, because you have to keep them informed before you go ahead to create those policy. So which of it is? So I'm not sure we have another question here again. From security, what is the next step? I'm not sure. Any other thing? No. How do the admin help a user to reset an account authentication app? Oh God, we've talked about this during Entra ID. So you can go to Entra ID, click on that user. Let me see. Let's do 4 minutes then. Yes, revoke authentication. Revoke the authentication. Thank you, Paul. So I'm not sure I need to go there again for Paul to know it. Then everybody to should know it. So you should just go to the enter ID, go to users, click on that user, you see authentication, revoke the authentication. Probably the user misplaced their maybe phone or mode of authentication, then you can revoke it from there. Don't forget the first day we were discussing. That was why we said we should have at least two global admin in the organization. Imagine the issue happened to the first global admin. maybe the phone went bad or the phone was stolen or something happened to the phone, then that user don't have access to that phone again. As the global admin, there will be problem. So the second global admin can revoke that MFA, and the user can go ahead and set it up afresh again. So from here, I will assume there is no any other question again. I will assume there is no any other question again. Any other question? No. So let us proceed. I would have just go directly to purview and start what we need to start. But because of users that will start asking us, how do we get there? So let's start from office.com again. So for those that are just joining us, or for those that are not with us before now, so you can go to office.com, sign in the credential that was given to you. Then from there, you can go to admin. We have admin at the bottom left of our screen. Once you click on admin, it brings you to the Microsoft 365 admin center. Then you can click on show all. You can click on show all. Once you click on show all, then um you will have the admin options available depending on the license that it is assigned to you. So for today we've talked about the remaining parts of the security. So now we are going to compliance. Don't forget, when we started this class, when I was giving illustration, I told you we built our house, we have door, we have iron bars, that is our burglary proof, both on our windows and our door. We have our compound as gates. We have a security man in our compound, yet we still fence our house. We have a security wire, barbed wires to secure our house, yet we still have estates. In that estate, we have securities, we have gates, and in that area also, aside from the estate, there are still other security and everything. And we mentioned that all this will be useless if the user does not comply with the security rules. The security rules. You see that at times there will be some issue. Yes, I'm sharing my screen, Victor. Maybe you leave and join back. I believe others too can see my screen aside from you. So as I'm saying, so you see at times some issue will happen, then you will hear that there is an internal person that give these people information. We have internal people
Okay.
that give these people information. Somebody saying something.
Like, advice to take, then you take basic.
Please. Okay. Okay. So we said the font is too small. Okay, don't worry, I will increase it. This not our final bus stop though. So I'm just still explaining it just to refresh our memory, and we've talked about a lot of things regarding um security, how to secure our environment. Now we are going to the compliance center. Don't forget, I said the compliance is now called purview, not the compliance as it used to be. So from there, you can click on compliance. And once you click on compliance, you will land at the Purview Admin Center we have on our screen. For those that said my screen is tiny, the words are tiny. So I've increased the font. I believe it should be much better now. Please confirm if my screen is fine now. Confirm if my screen is fine now. Okay, thank you. So before we go to the Purview Admin Center, so I would just want to do some definition of terms. I just want to show us some things we have in purview directly from the Microsoft documentation. Let me share it in the group for those that might want to open it from their end also. So I've shared it in the group. Let me zoom it so everybody can see. So I believe everybody can see it now. You can see Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal, and we have a lot of things there. We have a lot of things. So once you get there, these are the things we are expected to see. Though this Purview Compliance screenshot you have here is the classic compliance center, not the new Purview that we have now. Let me see. Do I still have that old compliance center open? Yes, I still have it on my screen. Let me show us. You can see that what we have here is the same thing with what we have in that documentation. It's what we have in that documentation. If you see, you can see my side. Why if I click on go to new portal now, then you land in this place. You can see it's a bit different, but our documentation have the old overview. So which means it's yet to be updated. You can see this is the last time the article was updated. So the documentation give us a quick rundown or a quick breakdown of what we have in the purview. So we might not be able to touch everything we have there, but we'll be able to touch of them, few of them. So the same way we have compliance in the defender, that is for security. We also have compliance for we also have secure score. The same way we have secure score for the security. So we also have compliance score also in the compliance center. You can see it in my front. We have the compliance score also. So we'll check that. Might not talk much about it. You can see we have alerts in case a user defaults any of the policies. We have alerts that can be triggered to the admin. We have a lot of them here, and you see they picked each of them one after the other. Trainable classifier, sensitive information type. We have the EDM, we have the DLP, we have the retention policy, we have the catalog. And who else noticed that almost all the Microsoft Admin Center have audits? Who else noticed, or am I the only one saying it? In the secure, in the defender we have audits. In the Entra ID we did, we have audits also. You can see almost everywhere we have audits in case we have some user that decide to misuse the power they have, then we can easily fetch them out using audits, or there are some information that is missing, um or some settings, especially when a company, you have a large company, at times you see user raise support, a user complain this happened to their mailbox and want to know who did it. And it might be a very serious issue. So audit will be what bring out when it was done, who did it, which document it is, and every other details about what happened to what we're looking for. You see there. We have our content search also. We have our content search to get a content of a mailbox. You can see documents in SharePoint sites or OneDrive location and Teams also. So the content search can be used to pull out information from the back end without the user's content. Just as admin, you can do that. So we have the compliance communication also. You can see it minimizes communication risks by automatically capturing inappropriate messages, investigating possible violation, and taking steps to remediate some of these things. We have our data loss prevention also to detect sensitive information. We have our e-discovery also. E-discovery, I always said we had no screenshots from yesterday class and today. Yes, because I don't really make use of slide. You can see we have been doing a lot of hands-on. So if you want to take screenshots, only will take screenshot of my screen. I believe that is the reason why Oyimafu is not sending any screenshots to the group, because I'm not really making use of slide. As I said, I'm not a slide person, but if you want a screenshot, after a rundown here, I can still go back to the slide and just show us one or two things there. So as you are saying, the e-discovery I used to say is the elder siblings, the sibling of the content search. But the difference between the content search and e-discovery is that, and that's fine, I will share it, Isaac. So the difference between the e-discovery and content search is e-discovery can retain what they search for a period of time. Depending on what you specify, e-discovery can still hold those information. It can hold the information. So I think that is one of the major difference between the e-discovery and the content search. And we have data lifecycle management, as the name implies. It is used to retain data in a user mailbox or in Teams for a particular time. Then we have information protection, we have information barrier. I think I once talked about the information barrier. You don't want user from this group to communicate with user in this group. You don't want this set of HR. Every time HR and admin, they keep having issues. Okay, henceforth we are going to create information barrier. HR and admin will not be able to communicate with each other. Everybody be on their own lane. So we have the information barrier, then we have the insider risk, we have the record management, we have the private risk management, all of it in the purview compliance center. For those that are asking for slides, don't worry, we'll get slides. So this was where we started today. Then we'll talk about this. So this is where we are currently. What is happening? Okay. So we are in data governance and overview. You can see we are talking about data archiving, retention policy, compliance features. So it all depends, and also the next one, which is data loss prevention policy. As I have said earlier, you can see even from the name, it's direct. You don't even need much English or much interpretation from that. And the next one we have on the screen is the Microsoft Purview Inside Risk Management. You can see inside threats detection, risk mitigation, and security enhancement. Don't forget, without compliance, security is useless. Then information barrier, control communication, establish communication. I think I've talked about this few minutes ago. And data classification and sensitivity label. Implement data classification, sensitivity label, which is all I have on my slide. For those that is asking for it, I'll drop it in the group. I just explained the function of information barrier. However, if you still need it, I dropped the um, document already in the chat. You can go through it. As said, we have less than 35 minutes to come to the end of anything compliance, security, and compliance. So please hold on. I'm trying to share. I'm not sure I have I don't have the right to share. I'm unable to share the slides here. So maybe I'll send it to the WhatsApp once we are done. Or let me see if I can quickly do that. Um, I'm coming. This is Microsoft 365 community. So I've sent it to one of the WhatsApp group. Then somebody can help me to send it to every other we have. So I've sent it there. Everybody can pick, and if you want to do anything with it, you all have it. So, however, for the purview, this is the documentation that give us the entire breakdown for purview. So let's now go to the purview admin center. As said, we will not be able to do much because of our time. So I'm trying to be fast as I can. So at least we can cover the remaining parts of the topic. So if we go to our slide, if we check our table of contents, see that this is where we are. Can you see it? Retention, DLP, sorry, retention, DLP, insider risk, information barrier, classification, which is where we are currently. So, so the first thing I'd like to talk about here, I know we all know what audit is. This is not our first time of hearing audit. So if we make any changes or any user is found wanting or you need to trace anything in the purview admin center and maybe the user deny the allocation or not, then you can always come to the audit to check what exactly has happened to that user or to that data or information you're looking for. So the first thing I would like us to go, the compliance communication. So we have the trainable classifier and we have the sensitive info type and we have the EDM also here. So the trainable classifier is simple and straightforward. So the trainable classifier, this is how it works. You can create a trainable classifier. However, if you want to train your classifier, the classifier is trained on a pattern of file, pattern of information. If the information look like this, if the information have this, if it has that, you can flag it. However, we have some that are readily made, and some organization might say, okay, we don't want this. We want our own trainable classifier. We want a customized one because all the ones we have here does not suit what we have. The ones we have here, they are already trained by Microsoft, but you can decide to create your own depending on the kind of data and information you are dealing with. You know, the kind of information Nigeria FIRS is dealing with is different from the information that NYSC will be dealing with. So FIRS can decide to come up that most of what we have here, they are for international um, banks and countries information of users outside Nigeria. So most of the information that Microsoft have trained does not include what you have locally in Nigeria. So you can create your own trainable classifier and start uploading both the positive and the negative. Both the positive and the negative. I think the maximum you can upload or maximum we can have in a SharePoint site while you are uploading it is 500. Anything beyond 500, it will be uploaded, but it will pick the recent 500 only to work with. So what am I saying? It works with pattern. So if an information takes a pattern of what you have in your trainable classifier, then depending on where you have it's either the positive or the negative, then it will do what? It will flag that information. So we have the sensitive info type also. So the sensitive info type is almost a brother to the trainable classifier also. But however, these ones they already have their own information. You can specify their own information also. You can decide to create your own sensitive info type, and you have the EDM also. The difference between the EDM classifier and the trainable classifier is that the trainable classifier work with pattern, while the EDM work with exact information. So if you look at the name exact data match, which means if my number is 09011111111, so for this EDM to flag it when you are creating your policy, then that number must be 090111111 also for it to flag it. So it must be exact. But in case of trainable classifier, is pattern. It's just have to have the pattern. Let me assume 0901111 and what I have in my trainable classifier is 0901114 So because it has that same pattern, then it will flag it automatically. It will flag it automatically. I know I'm rushing. Some of us might have a lot of questions. I know, I understand. So I'm just making sure we cover all what we need to talk about. That's why I'm rushing the way I'm doing it. If you remember yesterday and previous week, I was taking my time, but today it seems the time is taking me. So I'm trying, I'm trying as much as I can to be able to manage our time. So we can go to the compliance manager. Under the compliance manager now, you will see our compliance score. We can see it. Can you see my compliance score? I have very high score. So everybody can check from your tenants also. Why is everything 000 in my tenants? Only manage compliance that is nine. Every other thing is in zero. So from what we have here, this is the total score of all the admin, not only me, of all the admin we have in these tenants. So these are compliance score. However, you can see the same way we have it for our secure score, it gives us room for improvement, what to do and how to do it. Just the same way we discussed it yesterday for our secure score also. So things that needs to be done for it to be much more better than the way it is. You can see it has a further breakdown also to our secure score, how we actually arrive at the 28%. Everything is what we have them all here. So before we continue to the next thing again, which is the data life cycle management, the data catalog, you can check it out from the documentation I shared earlier. We don't really have much information there. I believe we all know the meaning of catalog. Even some of us did cataloging in school. So you can just join data and catalog together. You can arrive at your answer. Thank you. So before we go to data life cycle management, please, if you have any question, in case it's better we understand the few ones we talk about than to talk about everything without understanding anything. So if you have any question, then before we proceed, uh, let me know. Please, can we have access to all the rules? No, no. Remember when we are talking about Entra ID, we said you should give the user the least permission they needed, the least permission they needed, not more than what everybody needed should be given to them. So most of you currently you don't know how to find yourself around the Microsoft 365 center around the most of the portals, then you can just go ahead and mistakenly delete maybe another user, delete some file. You can do things that can even make us jeopardize or log everybody out of that tenant. So no to that question. No, no. So somebody tag me, please, would you appreciate if you can give us a lab note showing all the steps to navigate to the whole icon with regard to the security compliance? Okay, if you want a lab note, there is no lab note, but at the beginning of this class, I think I gave us cmd.ms. cmd.ms have all Microsoft Admin Center. Can you see it? Any admin center you are looking for, anywhere you will find it here. So far, it all belongs to Microsoft. So all what you are looking for is under Microsoft 365. You check everything, you see it here, irrespective of what you are looking for. And if you don't know, you can click on all, just search the name here. It will bring it out, irrespective of anything you are looking for. But however, I told some set of people today, if you are watching a YouTube video or an instructor is teaching and the instructor shares a screen and you don't know where the person is, you can always go to the URL. Say, if you pick this side of this URL now, let me pick it. You'll see that we'll still get back to this place where we are currently. Sorry. Oh, why is it taking time to load? Okay. Can you see that the same place I was before, still the same place we have here? So nothing changes. So you can always check what these are have at the top. So if you want me to drop this, I can drop it for you. This is purview. This is purview. Defender. Here's my defender. This is defender. Which other one again did you mention? Admin center. Admin.microsoft.com. That's the easiest of all. So I've sent it. We have everything there. So let me go to other questions. Please can't have access to all these rules. No, I've answered that. Please, I try to improve my secure score, and most of the recommendations are not available on the tenant. Which of the recommendation is not available on the tenant? For the recommendation that you see on your secure score is based on your own tenant score. That's the recommendation. If I check my own secure score, the recommendation I will have at my end, there's chances it will be different from your own. So if it's giving you any recommendation, yesterday I opened it where you can click and it will take you directly to where you can make the changes or the configuration. It will take you there, and also it will show you some links to documentation that can help you with it. I explained everything yesterday. I should explain more on catalog. Sorry, I would have loved to do so, but we have it here. Can you see? This is it here. You can just right click, open, then you get more than enough information on catalog. You see, you have enough. You can go through them at your own spare time. If you now go through it, you don't understand, you can drop your question in the general group, or you can chat me privately. Then I can pick it up for there. But for this class, no, I'm sorry, I might not be able to do so. That is Oluchi. So I have a tenant from Microsoft before now, but I can't seem to get access to this purview, and even the last defender page. What when you click on when you go to the admin center, what are you seeing? The Microsoft you are talking about might not be either enterprise or business tenants. Maybe it's just personal accounts. The personal subscription, or let me not call it tenants now, is not managed by you majorly. It is managed by Microsoft. So check the kind of subscription you have, the tenants you have, and let us know. That is going to Osemudiame Osawe. Does the IAS come in a better compliance? Yes, sir. Sir Olariwaju, yes, sir. The higher the score, the better your compliance. So the highest you can score is 99.9. My own preview is not showing admin center. If you don't have admin center now, Chibu na Joe. These are Microsoft Power View Center. So I don't know the admin center you are referring to here. This is my own. There is no admin center in Power. Thank you, Paul. So I'm surprised. You try to improve the MFA and it asks you you don't have access to do that. Yes, that might be based on the role that you have. The role you have might not allow you to do so. Might not allow you to do so. So let me see. Who is this Paul? This Paul have been answering a lot of questions. Paul, please chat me after the class. I will create you on the tenants where we have access to everything. You can chat me privately. So what is the function of information barrier? I've briefed it before now. Information barrier is um we have our HR team, we have our admin team, we have our IT team. You don't want your HR to be able to chat your admin. You don't want your IT team to be able to chat either your HR or your admin team, or you don't want them to be able to communicate. So that is what information barrier is. That is the easiest way I can explain information barrier. Okay, the way we have it now, we don't want mentee to chat mentors. So mentee will be on their lane while the mentors also will be on their own lane. What is the work of trainable classifier? When we get there, hopefully, you'll see where we make use of the sensitivity label, the EDM, and the trainable classifier. I hope we get there. Thank you, Paul. Ogburial for I think Paul is one of the mentor. Thank you. So how does content search work? Okay, this person wants to bring us back. I think we've not gotten there. So let's just quickly we have Rafiat. Are you still coming up at the end of the class? Let me know so I will know how much time we have left. Rafiat. Rafiat is not with us. So let's continue. So so let's go to data live circle management. I will fire on, don't worry. Some threats require action. It is very simple. You have some threats in your organization, or you are receiving some threats from people outside the organization, and you as admin is telling you to take actions. It's telling you to take actions, and it will give you the actions to take. I should give you the slot I want to give to Paul. I don't know the person as Paul. That was why I made the mistake. So when I saw the person's surname, so I actually know who the person is. So let's go to retention. Retention. So as I mentioned earlier, you can see, as I mentioned earlier, you can see we have our retention policy. That is our data lifecycle management. That is, I want information to stay in my tenant for some time. Oh, MJ is back. So I want information to stay in my tenants for some time. Then how do I go about it? Or I want information to remain forever in case a user decide to delete, maybe mistakenly delete some emails and we need it, or the user mailbox was mistakenly deleted. In the past, I've worked with some users, they tell you um the user is leaving the organization, and instead of them converting that regular mailbox to shared mailbox, some of the ignorant admin will just go ahead to remove the user's license without converting it to a shared mailbox. So after removing it, then after some time they will come back. We need information from this user's mailbox, or this user is back to our organization and we want him to keep using his old mailbox. So if they have this retention policy, um, in their organization, that mailbox and the information of the mailbox will remain, but it might not remain in the visible parts where users can just easily access it, but it will be somewhere where admin can access it. We call them in a recoverable item folder. We have different English for different condition that happens. If it's a mailbox, there's a way you can retrieve those mailbox so far it's still within the retention period. So we'll talk about the retention, then we might try to create one for those that have access to one tenant or the other. They can try create just one of them, then we'll proceed. So we have the retention policy. So I'll be creating just one policy for us, then others can pick up um from there. So I have an existing retention policy. I think this was created earlier today while I was explaining this same retention policy to some set of people where I was earlier today. And if you remember, I said if a user leave the organization, probably they mistakenly remove the exchange license of that user, or they remove the entire license for that user. But if they have retention policy, that mailbox will remain in that environment, and it should go to the inactive mailbox. If you see my screen, you can see it, inactive mailbox. But however, I don't have one in my own organization or in my own tenants. You would have seen the inactive mailbox here. And from here, at times you'll be able to reactivate the mailbox from here. But most time that I've tried it in the past, it doesn't work like that. We have to run some series of PowerShell. I think it was this issue that through this issue I came to know Rafiah back in the days. She came to me looking for a solution to that issue. So want to create a retention policy. So I can go to my policy now, call it GD to, then I'll click on next. Just ignore the admin unit. We have the full directory, we don't have another one. So just ignore the policy scope and continue to type. So the type, we have the adaptive and we have the static. What is adaptive? What is static? For the adaptive, when it selects the adaptive, majorly the adaptive add users to this policy using a an attribute that those users have in common. Let's say position. So all those that are managers or those that are directors, once you put portfolio, position or job title, and you add manager, so automatically anybody that is manager, um this policy will add them automatically without you having to do anything. And what is the advantage of this policy? Once you create a new user, maybe a new user just joined your organization and you add the job title manager, automatically this adaptive will pick it up and add the user to this policy automatically. So if you decide to create adaptive, once you click next from here, then it will ask you for the scope. It will ask you to create the scope. So from that scope, you see attributes. For those of us that have done maybe programming or logic, we have the or, we have the and condition. So it will tell you if the account, if the user department is what, then you can specify it, you can write it there. So to tell you to define that scope, then from the scope, then you can select the job title and others. As I said earlier, if you still want to read more about it, you can just make reference to the document I shared earlier. It has everything. Meanwhile, this static on the other hand, the static does not make use of attributes, it make use of technologies. If you click on the static, you see it to show you Exchange, it will show you Teams, it will show you SharePoint. So now it will now show you, if you want to use it for just one user, you can click Exchange, then you go to users. Instead of all users, you edit it to that particular user. So what will happen there is that the static will retain only information in that user's mailbox, while if it was the adaptive, it will retain all the information the user have, either SharePoint, Teams, or everything. It will retain it so far the user meets the condition we have in the adaptive. But the static now, if you choose Exchange, it will only retain the information in Exchange. If you add SharePoint to it, it will retain the message, the data we have in SharePoint. So the disadvantage of the static is this: if you create a new user, or a new user just join the organization and you create that user, it won't be added automatically to this retention policy. You have to add that user manually, which is the um disadvantage of using the static retention policy. So for tonight, because of our time, I'll just pick the static, then just go forward so I can show us the retention settings. We have just 5 minutes more. So the retention settings, as I've mentioned earlier, you can see now the location, sorry, you can see Exchange mailbox, you can see it's included all mailbox, all sites, all user accounts for OneDrive, Microsoft 365 group, all 365 group all together is added there. You can add some other ones, but there are some you can't combine them with what we have at the top here. Once you click on them, all this will turn off, which means if you want to select those ones, it has to be those policy alone. It has to be those technology alone. You can't combine it with other technology or some other parts of that technology that you have selected before. So if you don't want it for all user mailbox, maybe you want it for only some set of people or some groups, you can decide, and you can also exclude some users from it. This exclusion work most time if the user recoverable item, deleted item is filled up, because if you have retention in your mailbox, if you delete email, the email will go to your deleted mailbox. Then after 30 days, or depending on what the configuration you have in the organization, but by default, after 30 days, it goes to the recoverable item. So the recoverable item folder, the in Outlook, there are some that is visible. You can still see that one, but there is a recoverable item folder that is no longer visible to the user any longer. It is only accessible by the admin. So the message or the data will remain in that recoverable item folder. So once the recoverable item folder marks out, emails that are in the deleted item that are expected to go to the recoverable item folder will remain in the deleted item. So your mailbox, if you delete any email, it won't leave your mailbox, it will remain there. And at some point, you will see that your mailbox too is maxed out. Also, at that point, you can't send or receive email. So what do? You come here and exclude the user from the policy so that email that is older and you have in the retention policy, like the condition you have, depending on condition you have, let's say in our setting you have 5 years. So and we have some email that are not up to 5 years and the mailbox is maxed out, you just exclude that user. Once you exclude that user, email will start leaving the recoverable item folder. There is a way you can force it to leave the recoverable item folder. Then the user will have other will have enough space in the mailbox to do whatever they want to do. So that is why one of the reasons why we have the exclusion that we have here. So the retention settings, you can see retain item for a specific period. How long do you want it to retain? We have 5 years, we have 7 years, we have 10 years, and you can even customize. You can decide to use any years you want from your end. What is the maximum retention period? Retention does not have maximum. See what we have here. Retain forever. So we have retain forever. So which means there is no maximum period. So the other option we have here is only delete item when they reach a certain age. At what age do you want it deleted? Then you can specify it. So if you put 7 years, any item that is 7 years, once it's 7 years, then it deletes the item permanently, which means that item is no longer in the recoverable item folder. That item is deleted permanently. From my experience in the past, I think for users that raise premium tickets, I think some of these things Microsoft can help them to find it from their data center at their backend. But for admin and users, you can't have access to it again. That information is gone and it's gone for life. So that's it for retention policy. Any question? Any question before we cheat Rafiat and pick another thing to talk about? Any question? Any question? I believe there is none. So we have the policy lookup. So the policy lookup too is similar to what I talked about not too long. Like the user email, the user cannot send or receive email due to the recoverable item folder that is filled up. Then you want to know the policy that is applied to that user, the policy that is applied to that user. So you can come here, you put user, then you search. So all the policy that is applied to your user, you see it here. Everything comes up. Then it will give you at least a next line of action on what to do on that user or not. And this is the tricky part about retention policy. In our exchange legacy, we also have another retention policy. Retention policy, litigation owed, which other owed again? We have like five of them, 4 or 5 of them owed. So litigation owed is for a mailbox. It can decide to enable litigation hold for just one mailbox. Same thing as you have for retention policy, but litigation hold is majorly for mailbox alone. Alone. I know there is still one other difference again that we have from that litigation policy has from others, but I can't remember now. So, but in the retention policy, you can see that we have more than just exchange. We have SharePoint, we have Teams. But however, as you should always have it at the back of your mind that any of the all of the old, they are what, they are siblings. Even in the e-discovery, there is old there also in e-discovery. We I'm not sure we get there tonight because there's chances we stop at where I have on my screen. That was the reason why I brought out that document, so that if we stop here tonight, you can always make reference to that document to guide you on anything you want, or you can put your message in the group. I have my bosses also, they will attend to you, or you can chat me privately. So this is the tricky part about retention policy, where a lot of admin used to get it wrong. You can see that we have retention policies at the top, and if we check down under the exchange legacy, we have the MRM retention policies also. We have the MRM retention policies also. So a lot of people get both of them wrong. They get them wrong. If you check, let me just use the simplest way that we will understand. Um, Email that are deleted from your mailbox after 30 days. How are these email moved? How are these email moved? Definitely you should know that there is something that move this email from your deleted item to where, to other parts. And you also have archive also, what moves those email from my mailbox to my archive. How are they moved? So this is what majorly, let me just put it the simplest way we get it. The MRM retention policy is just our local champion. This is just within mailbox, move email within mailbox, um move it to archive, move it to deleted item, from deleted item move it to recoverable item folder. Is just a local champion that moves things within the mailbox based on the retention tag that you have. If you look at the retention policy, for you to create or to have any effective retention policy, the MRM retention policy, you must have a retention tag. You can see we have a lot of them. Move email to junk mail, delete item, never delete, move after 1 month, delete, whichever way. However, the retention policy take precedence over the MRM retention policy. If you choose delete from retention policy, you ask it to delete after 1 year, and you have from the MRM retention policy, you have delete after 1 year, and you have the normal retention policy, delete after 7 years. The email still remain in the user's recoverable item. This retention policy will still hold that email in the recoverable item folder. This will only delete it from where you can see it. This will hold it where you don't have access to it again. So it will remain in that user mailbox, and the admin can always bring it out. Can always bring out the information. So this confuse a lot of admin a lot. It confuse a lot of admin a lot. For the person that asked about trainable classifier and sensitivity label, I think we might not be able to get there tonight. But if you go to your data loss prevention policy, if you go there and try to create it under the condition, you will see where you have to insert your trainable classifier or your sensitivity label under the DLP. I think we'll stop there tonight, and stopping there tonight means we are stopping for now everything regarding um security and compliance. I think we only left out few things that we did not talk about. However, I've did a review of all of them from the documents we went through earlier. So I will stop here for tonight. If you have question, before we return everything back to our senior madam. If you have any question, please let me know before Rafiat will take the feed. Any question? Any question?
Yeah, thank you, Olajide. I think I have
Welcome.
only one question. Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. What's the difference between retention policy and litigation hold?
I think I've talked about it already. I've answered that question.
Okay, okay. So that means that's all basically. Thank you all so much for for staying till this minute. Thank you, Olajide. We really appreciate your time. Tomorrow is Monday, the start of a new week. We wish everyone a productive new week. If you have questions, please drop your questions on the WhatsApp group or on the Telegram group. For attendance form, the link has been shared since 9 o'clock. We'll drop it again. Thank you all so much. I think that'll be all for today. Do have a good night rest. Yes, do have a good night rest. I'll share the attendance link. Okay, someone has shared